Hi everyone, my name is John. Welcome back to my channel. Every once in a while I finish a couple of books and like to get back to you. May not have a book review, but at least I'll tell you about what I've been reading, what I've recently finished, and what I plan on starting. And that's exactly what I have for you today. Let's call it a Friday Reads video. It's a beautiful day here in Texas. I have all the windows thrown open, and it's actually Thanksgiving Day. I have the place to myself for a few hours, so I'm just going to film some videos and take advantage of a quiet house and some free time. So I have three books. One I've recently finished, one I'm 50 or pages so short of finishing, and another one I'm going to start today or tomorrow probably with a friend of mine, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But let's go in order. First, the one I recently finished. This is 84 Charing Cross Road by Helen Hanff. And I don't know how much of a discussion or a summary this needs on BookTube. It's a pretty well-beloved YouTube classic. It's about the author's 20-year-long correspondence with the primary book buyer, the main book buyer from an English bookstore. The bookstore is called Marks & Co., and the main book buyer was named Frank Doyle. And Helen Hanff just strikes up a conversation, just very casually sends him a one-off letter, and immediately they start a series of correspondences, which is driven by Helen Hanff's need for books. And mostly her refusal to leave her apartment to find them. She's in New York City in the 50s and 60s, which I would hope is a repository for great used bookstores, even back then more than now. But she would rather ride off to England to find them instead. This book was a lot more poignant than I expected it to be, because soon after the letter writing fires up back and forth across the pond, it very quickly starts to settle down. And it reminded me of, I guess, the nature of friendships, how quickly they can be excited and started, and then how equally quickly they can sort of grow complacent sometimes and lose their passion. And I guess that's true with all relationships, not just friendships. But it's a beautiful book, beautifully written, and Hannah from Hannah's reads this every New Year's Day, as she said a few times on her channel. And if you want a book you can read in a day or even a sitting, it's this, which is less than 100 pages. So if you haven't read it before, and Hannah's recommendation wasn't strong enough, I highly back it too. Beautiful, beautiful book. All right, the one I'm in the middle of and have just maybe, like I said, 40 or 50 more pages left to go is this. It is from Princeton University Press, and it is The Mind in Exile, Thomas Mann in Princeton by Stanley Korngold. And this is a history of Mann's 3 years that he spent in Princeton, New Jersey, from 1938 to 1941. Of course, he saw the writing on the wall in Germany. I don't know if he was in Germany for most of the 30s. He was either in Germany or Switzerland, because I think he dies in Switzerland after he leaves the United States. But he comes here in late 1938, settles in Princeton, New Jersey, ends up writing two of his most famous books there, one of which is the last novel of his tetralogy, Joseph and His Brothers, the other one being Lotte in Weimar, which reimagines an imaginary conversation between Goethe and the woman who inspired the love interest in The Sorrows of Young Werther. Most of this book is about the transformation of Mann between World War I and World War II. Specifically, his political transformation. He arrives at Princeton pretty much completely changed from what he was 20 years ago. During World War I, he was an outspoken proponent of German nationalism and militarism. And had National Socialism been a thing during World War I, of course the spirit of it was there. The Geist, as you might say, was already very much a thing. But had the party been around, he might have been a member. But by the time the 1930s come around, he finds himself in Princeton, and he is Hitler's bête noire for 3 years, at least in the United States. He gets a lecture gig at Princeton University and has a series of speaking engagements there where he basically just tears Hitler a new one. Has plenty of ideas about how Germany is responsible for letting this happen to the country, how National Socialism is just it's sort of the id of political parties and political ideologies. It's just this unfettered, untrammeled, transgressive, destructive force that, yes, while may destroy civilization, will ultimately end up destroying itself. And of course, we know that is what happened. But Mann saw a lot of this stuff before it actually all came to pass. And it's about the lectures, the radio addresses, the talks he gave, where he sort of fleshes out his conversion to a sort of parliamentary liberalism from the really arch European conservative position that he staked out 20 years earlier. Now he is an ardent supporter of parliamentary liberal social democracy. And like I said, one of Hitler's biggest enemies, speaking out in the United States while Hitler was alive. So a really interesting book. If I had one criticism, it is that Korngold's style is a little bit dry, a little bit unengaging, a little bit academic. Yes, I know it's from a university press, but still, Princeton does a really, really great job at making things accessible. And this isn't unaccessible. He just could have made the writing a bit more engaging, I think. But the ideas are very interesting. So if you're interested in sort of a biographical take on Mann in the latter part of his life, especially what he was thinking about politically, very much recommended. And last, haven't started it, so I will have to lean into the material on the back, but I can talk about it a little bit. This is a book I'm going to read with Revenant Reads, Vin, and he tapped me on the shoulder about a month ago and said, do I want to read this book? I think I saw it in one of your videos lately, and I had it, and I said, yeah, absolutely. This is John sort of catnip. History of political ideas, intellectual history. I love that sort of stuff. So this is also from Princeton University Press. Excuse the glare. This is Liberalism in Dark Times, The Liberal Ethos in the 20th Century by Joshua L. Chernis, with a quote from Alan Ryan up there. This is on the back. Today, liberalism faces threats from across the political spectrum. While right-wing populists and leftist purists righteously violate liberal norms, theorists of liberalism seem to have little to say. In Liberalism in Dark Times, Joshua Cherniss faces issues arousing defense of the liberal tradition, drawing on a neglected strand of liberal thought. Building on the work of Max Weber, Raymond Aron, Albert Camus, Reinhold Niebuhr, and Isaiah Berlin, Cherniss urges us to imagine liberalism not as a set of policies, but as a temperament or disposition, one marked by openness to complexity, willingness to acknowledge uncertainty, tolerance for difference, and resistance to ruthlessness. In the face of rising political fanaticism, he argues for the continuing importance of this liberal ethos. It looks like after a short introduction, there's one chapter devoted to each of the people I named. So, yeah, I'm a sort of mini insights into some really well-known 20th century proponents of post-war political theory, liberal political theory. So that's what I have for our Friday reads. It's been a while, but I read slowly and finish books slowly. So I am going to take this opportunity to film a few more videos this afternoon before everyone gets home and we have Thanksgiving dinner. If you have any thoughts or recommendations, ideas, let me know. By the way, I wanted to mention one thing. I am a new, well, I guess the Twitter exilehood happened a long time ago, but I think I left in 2022 maybe. But I have joined Blue Sky, which apparently is bursting at the seams over the past few months. I will leave my link below, and if you would like to follow me or correspond with me, please feel free to. I'm posting bookish stuff, but also pictures of things I've cooked and pictures of CDs I'm listening to, because I still listen to CDs because I'm old. So look at me over there if you would like to, and I will film some more stuff, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.